Hey guys, it's Becky with Harp Strings and Wings. Thank you for watching this video and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the transmutation process of your body and energy and feelings and emotions and exactly like how that works. I was inspired by my sketchbook. I was looking for some spring inspiration for some art, and I came across this that I did like, it must have been like 6 years ago, and it was still relevant, and I wanted to share it. So I'm going to include some snapshots of these drawings that I did, and it's basically talking about the filters in our body and how we transmute energy. And so if you're interested, keep listening. So I brought a fun little prop today, and this is a colander. And I can't take credit for this, but I don't know who to give the credit to. But I learned a meditation like years ago with the visualization, like guided imagery of using a colander and put. Hi, sorry, I just had to put this on because that looks funny. Putting on my ooh hat. Just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, just you imagine like this running through your body all the way down to like your toes, you know? And what it does is it catches all the debris and the energetic gunk and everything that you have. And I kind of imagine after it goes cleaning out through your body that it kind of just like blows away like sparkle dust into the universe and is, you know, just kind of dissipates and dissolves. And that's one of my favorite energetic like meditation clearing activities or imageries that I like to do. And I just find like it really helps because I really feel like I can feel like the colander, these like little holes and things like that, catching all of the like energetic blockages and debris and everything like that. So it's a very, very powerful tool that I use. And so I just wanted to share that with you. And I also use color therapy, and I'll stick a picture of this in it as well. So the netting thing that that kind of shows on the body there that I'm showing in the picture is, just pretend that that is the colander and it's sweeping through your body. You can do this multiple times, just sweeping through your body. And then as you look at the top, it looks like these like little light scanning things are shining on you. And each of these is a color. And so for white, I like to use white for cleansing and purifying. So I imagine the white light going from like head to toe, just kind of like scanning my body. Green for health and for the earth. Purple for inner peace and safety. I often use the imagination. I use my imagination to like imagine like a nice warm purple blanket around me that just makes me so like cozy and just feel safe. Red is for love and passion, and that's also like self-love. Blue is for loyalty and family. Yellow for joy. Orange, wisdom and knowledge. And obviously these go with kind of like chakras and stuff. And you can imagine the color and the purpose behind that color yourself. Like you can invent that, you can create it, whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be what I've done, but this is what I have felt most like resonant with. So that's why I picked those meanings for those different colors. So as I want to go and talk a little bit more about the like transmutation process and just kind of like how we come into contact with the energies. Sometimes we just don't even know where it comes from, how we pick it up. All we know is that it's there. So it could be hormonal, it could be like an empath thing where you've picked it up from somebody else or a place, or just maybe a situation that you have a certain belief about. So you're creating a belief which creates an emotion and a feeling, and you know it feels unpleasant and uncomfortable, and we just want to get out of it. Like we don't want to feel it. It's uncomfortable. We don't want to bother with it. But all about being here is you know processing that through our body and filtering it through. So as I show you these examples of what I have drawn, you can see like external energy coming in and you're aware of it. So this energy has come into your field, your being, and you, maybe it's a sadness. So we'll talk about like deep sadness. And you don't know quite what to do with it. So you first ask yourself, oh, why am I sad? And you start getting in the process of like trying to figure out who made you sad, what made you sad, anything. Sometimes you'll find that you have no idea why you're sad. So then you're thinking, is it hormonal? Is it depression? Is it, you know, something physical or something that you can't control? So I guess we don't really have to figure out the why so much. I would spend weeks and months trying to figure out the why I have this emotion and how can I get rid of it and how can I get out of it and how can I fix it. Instead, what I've learned through the years is obviously you just kind of observe it. So you're aware of it, one. Two, you start, you just kind of like make a curious observation. This is here. This heaviness, this sadness is here. And you, as much as possible, try to acknowledge it without any judgment or personal attachment to it. So, oh, I'm sad because I have a long history of mental illness in my family, or I'm sad because I just don't like where my life is going right now, and you know, what you try to attach something to it. That's attaching something to it, and then making a judgment on it, like, well, I'll never be able to feel happy, or you know those kind of I never statements, or any kind of judgment on it, like I'm sad because this person did this or whatever. So you want to make that curious observation without the attachment or the judgment. And when you just like let it sit there and kind of do its thing, and sometimes you have to repeat steps 1 and 2 like over and over and over, but usually not as much as if you attach the judgment to it or take it personally, like you own that feeling, you own that emotion. And instead, if you just kind of observe it, oh, it's there still. That sadness is still there. It's 2 hours later. I'm still feeling kind of sad. I will say, like, I've noticed, like, when I go to bed and I go to sleep, like, the next day, usually that will resolve the, sometimes, you know, the emotion and whatever that energy that I was transmuting and processing. So once you do that, the transmutation begins, because it starts because you've acknowledged it and you've given it like your attention, like it's here. And then if you don't place the judgment on it and you just let it kind of run its course, it dissolves so much faster, so much faster. I can't even tell you how much I've learned by doing this throughout the years, and how I used to handle it like in my 20s to opposed to now I'm in my 40s. It's like night and day difference. So I would attach to it, I would, you know, it would hang around for so long and it would come back again always, and it was really hard to get through. And instead of learning this transmutation process, realizing, oh, I don't need to take this personally, I just need to let it move through, and it just dissolves and kind of like takes care of itself. So much easier. And then I didn't beat myself up in the process, and neither will you. You know, you give yourself slack, you're gentle with yourself. This is how you can be gentle with yourself during this process. So that is one of the drawings that I did. And so our energy field, I want to talk about our like energy field in our body, is very much like a filter. And if you've changed a filter in your home or in your vacuum, you know that it gets gross, like really, you know, and you have to clean it and wash it out and everything like that. Same thing goes for the physical body and for our energetic field. So the less we clean out our energetic filters, the more that things can get stuck in there. And and the less we're going to be able to process and pull through and transmute. So this drawing that I did was like maybe a certain memory, like a traumatic memory or something like that. You retrieve that and you're processing it, you're hanging on to it, you're thinking about the events. You feel sadness because you start thinking about this event, and it's suddenly your past has become your present. That's how your past becomes your present. And then, you might make a personal judgment on that connected to the memory or whatnot. So then you just try to distract yourself because that's very uncomfortable. You don't want to feel that. You don't want to think about it. So you push it down and you want to avoid it. And you just kind of the trauma remains like clogged and stuck in your body because it's not being properly filtered out. And so the more that we can, so the next image I have is the more we can take that sadness, we can recognize it, we can become the watcher, and we can observe in a curious fashion, like the sadness energy. And then refrain from any attachment or personal judgment, no analyzing. I wrote that down because I tend to analyze a lot. And do what you need to do. Cry, release, feel it, whatever you've got to do, and then just kind of let it be there, and it naturally dissipates, and you can let go. So, and then there's another note I wrote down here that observed energy transmutes and dissipates. And it's true. I didn't really think I believed in that at first, but then once I gave this a couple rounds of practice, I realized that it very much did work so much better. And you get faster energy transmutation when you have fewer blockages and you have a cleaner filter. So the less attachment to energies that you have is like the more clear that you become, and the easier that energy can come through to you, the more that you are available to be clear for other people too, not just yourself. But that's evolution, essentially. Like, that's how we are evolving ourselves, letting that light come in, do its work, and imagining the colander going through, like the colander of light, and doing what it's doing through certain parts of your body, and ooh, ow, that hurts. Things are not going to feel very comfortable. And so this can be like a physical manifestation in terms of like the body carrying certain pains through those blockages and everything, and the light working its way through there. Sometimes it doesn't feel too great. And really, really stuck trauma and everything, I like to imagine it as being kind of like a calcification in the body. So that's it takes a little bit longer to work through. And I do believe personally myself that is what I'm working through. And it's a very frustrating process because on one hand, I want to acknowledge that I have this chronic illness or these chronic pains, go to doctors and see and treat myself for it and acknowledge it and get that verification, which is very important. But also I want to believe in my body's ability to self-heal. And it can really be tricky when you feel that your body's broken somehow, or that you have a chronic illness. So that is the real struggle. Like, it is a hard thing to I guess not put judgment on a chronic illness or trauma, because it is something that's stored in the body. So what I've been doing lately is some of those traumatic memories that come up, I try to, okay, there's the memory, there's that again. Sometimes I want to get really analytical about it and think about it and break it down and try to figure out why this happened, or I look through the years, what has this done to me, and then you kind of get in a victim mentality. And so once I realize I'm going down that road, because that's the road that I always naturally, I think it's just natural for the human to just go down that line of thinking, I try to stop and think, I have realize I don't see the bigger picture of it completely, especially if there was another person involved, or something like that, like I have to kind of change my perspective on it and in a way give it to God. I have to surrender to a higher power and something that knows more of this story than I do, including how my body is dealing with it. And so that is something I'm constantly working on every day. And it's been very hard. I always want to do videos about it, but I always feel like, well, I'm still learning how to do this, so I'm like not an expert or anything. But sometimes I do get inspiration and I try some things out. And that's all I want to do is just share what I have tried and see what works best. And yeah, so I hope this answers some of your questions about your body being a filter and how things like blockages around your joints and problem areas, like how things can get really calcified there and how to work through those. And so back to, I did want to mention one last thing, back to like the memory coming up that is still traumatic for. Obviously there's some self-blame or something I'm going through maybe. So again, that's where the personal judgment and attachment needs to be. Basically you see yourself doing that and then you are like, okay, no, I'm not, or you're going to say I forgive myself, or you're going to give it to God kind of thing. And then it becomes easier the next time that happens again. So, because I've noticed with this repetitive memory that keeps coming up where I feel like I may have hurt somebody and I feel awful about it, you know. So there's like self-guilt or something like that, and self-blame and things like that. And yeah, I'm seeing why I made that mistake. I'm seeing what I learned from making that mistake. I'm seeing how I wouldn't make that mistake again, because obviously it's bothered me so much and I learned so much from it. But what it's still coming up as a painful thing, like a blame, like you did this to that person or something like that. So that's like a little bit of dealing with like self-forgiveness, which is like a whole nother other video. And one that, you know, I still feel very much like I have to practice what I talk about. I'm like the embodiment of it because that's how I've had to process so much stuff coming through. So let me know if this helped you, and sometimes it's nice to just see a visual, and it's always good to get like a good guided imagery example with the colander thing. So I hope that helps you. That's one of my favorites. And yeah, let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. Okay, bye.